President Obama met with China's president earlier this month in Southern California. They discussed economic and security issues. In an interview for PBS, I asked the president what he thinks about China.
They have achieved such rapid growth, and they have grown so fast, almost on steroids, that there's a part of them that still thinks of themselves as this poor country that's got all these problems. The United States is, the big cheese out there trying to dictate things, perhaps trying to contain our rise. And so I think what you're seeing inside of Chinese leadership is the desire to maybe continue not to be responsible, not to be a full stakeholder, work the international system on something like trade or intellectual property rights, get as much as they can,
right.
And be free riders and let the United States worry about the big hassles and the big problems. At the same time, a growing nationalist pride where they say, yeah, we're big too, and we should be seen as equals on the world stage. And what we're saying to them is, you can't pick and choose. You can't have all the rights of a major world power, but none of the responsibilities. And if you accept both, then I think you will have a strong partner in the United States. So I'm optimistic about the future, but what I've found working with the Chinese government is candor, being clear about American values, pushing back when the Chinese are trying to take advantage of us.
Speaking of pushing back, what happened when you pushed back on the question of hacking and the serious allegations that come from this country that believe that the Chinese are making serious strides in hacking not only private sector but public sector?
We had a very blunt conversation about cybersecurity.
Do they acknowledge it?
When you're having a conversation like this, I don't think you ever expect a Chinese leader to say, you know what, you're right, you caught us red-handed.
Yes.
We're stealing all your stuff, and every day we try to figure out how we can get into Apple.
And cyber warfare and cyber espionage, right.
Every country in the world, large and small, engages in intelligence gathering. And that is an occasional source of tension, but it's generally practiced within bounds. There is a big difference between China wanting to figure out how can they find out what my talking points are when I'm meeting with the Japanese, which is standard fare, and we try to prevent them from penetrating that, and they try to get that information. There's a big difference between that and a hacker directly connected with the Chinese government or the Chinese military breaking into Apple's software systems to see if they can obtain the designs for the latest Apple product. That's theft, and we can't tolerate that.
Let me turn to a number of things. Let me just, before I do though, the notion of that you have simply continued the policies of Bush-Cheney.
Right.
How does it make you feel?
Well,
I mean, how do you assess it? Because many people say, you're Bush-Cheney light. And then people write columns saying, no, he's not that at all. He's tougher, in terms of drones, in terms of surveillance, in terms of many things.
Well,
Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah. Well, look, I haven't yet closed Guantanamo. So one of the things you learn as president is, what have you done for me lately? If you didn't get it done, then it's your problem. And I accept that. That's my job. So until I close Guantanamo Bay, they're right. I haven't closed Guantanamo Bay. When it comes to
drones,
I gave an entire speech on this, and what I have said is, and this is absolutely true, is that we have put in place a whole series of measures that are unprecedented, and we will continue to do so. We ended enhanced interrogation techniques. We ended some of the detention policies that had been in place that violated our values. There are a whole range of checks and balances that we've put in place. But I think it's fair to say that there are going to be folks on the left, and what amuses me is now folks on the right who were fine when there was a Republican president, but now Obama's coming in with the black helicopters.
I did the interview so to others to assess it. But it's interesting for me to see a president's mind at work.
I thought that the point that he made about the Chinese government or the Chinese military going in directly to try and steal Apple's designs, that is theft. And of course, what the U.S. government has accused the Chinese of doing is actually going in not just Apple, but our own military systems and stealing our designs for military hardware. That is...
But we talked about that in an earlier part of the interview, in which I said to him, it is said that they're doing that because they want to bring their military up to parity. And he acknowledged that was true. That they were doing it, and they were doing it because they wanted to bring their military up to parity with ours.
You were saying that you do it for the president to assess the president. But how did this happen, Charlie? Because last Friday, we're sitting here saying, what are you doing for the weekend? You said, I might go home and mow the lawn.
No, I didn't say that.
I might do something with Barkley. At no point did he say, I'm going to the White House. And then I wake up Monday morning and it says Charlie Rose was at the White House. When did that happen? How did it come together?
After this program, I was talking to a colleague in my office, and there was a call from the White House saying, where are you this weekend? Of which I said, where do you want me to be?
Yeah.
And they said, well, the president would like to have a conversation about a range of issues, and you're the guy I'd like to have it with.
Well, it was a conversation about a range of issues, a lot of give and take.
And it's always good. I mean, you've been covering the White House. It's always interesting when you can talk with someone about important issues who can make decisions that affect those issues.
No doubt, no doubt.